Welcome to episode 3 of the Left Behind Game Club. Today, we played and are ready to talk through Gone Home. Some of us are more ready than others. Did Mo play the right game?
This is what went in my head, literally, because like you walk in, creepy house, and you're just kind of like going through this door, and they're storming outside, and there's a note saying, "Hey, don't bother looking for me. Mom and Dad are gone." It's like, yeah, she definitely like murdered the parents. She's running away. She's like running from the law.
She says, "Don't tell Mom and Dad."
Okay, it's open to how you perceive it. Because like when I saw that, I'm like, this
don't
is a
tell Mom and
story.
Dad that you killed them.
Don't tell
like,
Mom and Dad in hell where I put you to.
You're listening to the Left Behind Game Club.
Welcome to the Left Behind Game Club, our never-ending challenge to make sure that no game is left behind. I'm your host, Jacob McCourt, and with me, I have Michael Ruffolo.
Hello.
And Mo Murtadi.
How's it going?
Oh, you know it's going.
That's good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Great. So today's game is Gone Home. I picked this one, and I picked this one because it's a game I played about a month ago after a lot of people talking about it for a long time. It's just a game that I felt had been talked about a lot, but since it came out 4 years ago and you might have missed it, it might be a good opportunity to bring it up again.
Never heard of it. I'd never even heard of it. Completely new.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like when you guys mentioned it at first, I was like, okay, yeah, that game. Let's check it out, and I instantly had to do that Steam search, pretending like I knew what it was. But yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Now I need to know, did you think it was Grow Home?
So when you guys first mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, I have that game, and I was about to boot up Grow Home, and then like I eventually noticed the articulation, and you guys said Gone Home, and it was like an awkward I'll just keep that to myself kind of moment. And then until we talked about it earlier, yeah, that's exactly what happened. I thought it was a Grow Home.
Fantastic.
And Mike, what's your experience with it?
So, I had never played it. I had listened to it being discussed at a bunch of Game of the Year discussions a couple years ago. And I had heard a lot about it. It sort of has a special place in the culture for me because I love the Idle Thumbs guys, and almost all of them worked on this game.
Idle Thumbs, what's that?
So Idle Thumbs is a fantastic gaming podcast. Actually, they've expanded outside of games. They do Idle Thumbs, or they do Twin Peaks Rewatch. They do a book club. They do a variety of things. They started out as game journalists and then became game developers. A bunch of them worked on the Telltale games when they were really good. Some of them worked at Bethesda. Throwing a little shade there.
Bethesda, why does that ring a mega bell? They're a huge developer.
They're a huge developer that makes Fallout and Skyrim.
Okay.
Wait, what did they work on for Bethesda? Because I know obviously they went on to make Firewatch.
Yeah, so Nick Brecken worked at Bethesda during the time that Fallout 4 was being developed, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure, so Steve Gaynor, the guy behind Fullbright, he was the lead designer, correct me if I'm wrong, on Minerva's Den, which was the thing that made Bioshock 2 worth playing. And so I think he left 2K Marin. I think that was who was making it. And then created his own studio, Fullbright. And then if you look in the credits, you'll see Chris Remo did all of the music for Gone Home. Jake Rodkin did the web stuff, and I think some storytelling stuff. And then there are a bunch of also like really good stuff in the credits of like Harvey Smith did some of the handwriting. So yeah, a bunch of cool little Idle Thumbs references throughout, and they all made it.
Now,
it kind of makes sense.
Just as someone who's had a desire to listen to Idle Thumbs over the years, but they seem to have a lot of different podcasts. Like I know now they have Idle Weekend.
Yeah.
And I just don't know where to start. As an aside, and then we'll get into Gone Home, where would you start if you had a curiosity about Idle Thumbs?
Yeah, so the Idle Thumbs guys sort of just blew up their podcast network in a way. they've been doing the Idle Thumbs podcast since, I think, for almost a decade. They stopped and then came back with a Kickstarter. They decided to end their video game podcast, or do it not quite consistently and frequently. And instead they've started up a show called Important If True. That's the one that they do most frequently. If I were to start anywhere, I would go to their Idle Thumbs video game podcast. And they have an amazing fan base, amazing community online who've set up a database with discussions that's tagged for every topic under the sun. So if you want to go back and listen to their discussion around Gone Home, there's a tag for it. So you can find all the different episodes that they reference or talk about Gone Home and listen to all of their discussions around it. And the same for any other game. They tend to like... They're the ones that love Far Cry 2 and Clinton Hawking more than I think anyone else in the world. And they have a lot of fun Jurassic Park references.
Austin Walker's a big fan of them too, but...
Yes, Austin Walker's a big Far Cry 2 fan, but I think when you compare them, it's not even close. And I'm sure you'll hear Austin Walker mention every time he talks about Far Cry 2, the Idle Thumbs guys. Mm-hmm. Because they're that known for loving Far Cry 2.
Far Cry, great series. Primal, recommended.
Far Cry Primal.
Don't recommend Far Cry Primal. Don't do it.
We'll get into that.
There are 4 better Far Cry games.
At some point on this podcast, that story will be told.
One day.
One day. Now, just as a final point before we get into the meat, how did you play the game, Mike?
So I played it on my MacBook Air, a Steam purchase.
Mo?
Steam purchase on my machine, my rig, desktop computer.
Cool, and this is the second time that I played it. The first time I played it on PS4, and then the second time I played it on PC with developer commentary turned on.
Whoa. Ooh. Where did that come from?
That sounds like something I should have done.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, you know what, though? I definitely would not recommend doing developer commentary the first time through, because I went and played the game very differently than I played it the first time. I don't think I would have appreciated as much if I had listened to developer commentary the first time.
Right.
Yeah, and some of the commentary is really, really great and gives you it lifts the curtain back on some of the aspects of game development. So I think Mike or Mo, if you're interested in that, there's a lot of cool, there are some storytelling ones, they have the voice actor, they have some people from the team, Chris Remo has some music stuff. So I think if you plan on playing it again, or if you want to so I blew through it the second time in 45 minutes. If you want to play it again with developer commentary on, you can kind of pick and choose what commentary that you want to listen to. So I definitely think if you're interested in the game and the game's development, then that's something you should do.
I'm going to do that as soon as this podcast's over.
Yeah.
So the game starts and just kind of drops you right into the thick of things, right?
Yeah, I came into it completely out of not knowing anything about it, and you get dropped in front of on the porch of a house, and I believe there was a phone call before then where you're calling your parents and you're saying, "Hey, I'm getting home late. I'm taking a cab home. Don't worry about picking me up," and you kind of leave them a voicemail, and then black screen, and you show up on that porch, and it's like, okay, just figure something out, start moving. Did you guys ever play a game like this, by the way? The whole story-based, initial, figure it out on your own? Anyone else have experience with any of these types of games? Because this is one of my first ones I probably completed, because I usually get way too irritated with no direction. Mm-hmm. Anyone else play anything like this?
Jake, do you have anything that comes to mind?
So it pulls from certain adventure game tropes, having an inventory and then find this item, use on this item. But I think as far as first-person narrative games, this game came out in 2013, right? And since then has spawned a few games that have come off of that and kind of created... I don't want to say it's created a genre, but it's...
I almost want to say... forerunner of that genre.
Yeah, definitely. It takes from different genres and make something unique. I'm sure there might be a game or two that have something similar to this, but this is the first iteration of that type of game that I played.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't like these types of games. I hate.
And by these types of games, you mean walking simulators, as they're sort of pejoratively called.
Walking, escape the room, like find a passcode, like twist a key, and then like kind of like you're waiting for something. And to be honest, at one point I thought I was gonna die in this game, and I had to I'll get to exactly where that was once we kind of go through it. But there was one point where I had to stop the game. I did a quick Google search. I'm like, is Gone Home a scary game?
Just so a survival game?
Just so I could kind of emotionally prepare, because I was playing it probably like at 1 a.m. in my room. I'm in the middle of the forest, so I'm like, this is where I die. I'm going to play this game, and somehow something's going to get me. And I don't get freaked out that much, but this was the one where I had to kind of pause it.
Definitely.
I'm not a fan of these types of games at all, because it's too much build up. But initially, I was like, okay, let's just power through this and not have a panic attack midway through.
I feel I've definitely played games that have had, a cold open like this. When I think back, I feel like Half-Life 2 sort of starts this way, when you're on the train going into whatever the city is. It's been a long time since I played Half-Life 2.
City 17.
But
that's it.
But at least you get a crowbar. You don't get a crowbar and Gone Home. If I had a crowbar, maybe my emotions would be fine, but I had no way to defend
That says a lot about you, Mo.
Yeah, I needed a crowbar.
You need a weapon.
To protect me. For protection.
But I've definitely had those cold opens before, but none of them really come to mind as sharp an experience as this one did. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, the character that you're playing as, Katie, has never been to this house before.
I think so, yeah. She just moved, or their parents just moved, because there's boxes and stuff.
Yeah, and the postcard that you open, she has an arrow pointing at the address of 1 Arbor Way, or whatever the current address is, and she says, "So weird." Which to me, and you find an invoice for moving, which to me seems she wasn't used to writing that address down, and wasn't familiar with that location.
Yeah.
Which I think lines up really well. It creates less of the ludonarrative dissonance, the difference between what you're doing and as a player and what you're doing as a character in the world.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, because you don't feel that distance as much between the character and you, because the house is new for your character and it's new for you as a player exploring.
Yeah, and there are some really cool moments like creating less distance between you, the player, and you, the character. I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler for me to say this, but
this podcast is all spoilers.
It's by the way, guys, this game is getting spoiled. But at one point, there's a note under a side table, and under that side table is a note about your sister's feelings about something, and I'll just leave the what until we get there. But at one point, you as the character, you're reading through the note, and the note actually gets taken away from you. And I think Katie, you know how sometimes there's writing there in front being like, hey, the door's locked, or hey, you can't get through here.
Oh, Sam.
So at one point, Sam's notes get taken away from you, and Katie's like, no, I can't read this.
And Sam is the younger sister of Katie, who's kind of like the narrator of the entire game.
Yeah, the first player character.
Is that
we should probably lay out the characters in this game.
Yeah.
Jacob,
why don't you do that?
Jacob,
Yeah, so Katie is the player who you play. She's been in Europe for the past year, kind of traveling the world. Sam is her little sister who is just finishing high school, who's preparing to go off to college. And then Mom and Dad, who I don't even know their names. I don't remember their names.
Terrence is the dad.
Yes.
Let me look in my notes.
And then
can't find the mom's name.
They don't really play a major role besides you just concerned about what's happened to them, I guess, because there's no one in the house when you get there.
Well, I think there's some hints of an affair and things not going well.
There's a lot of smaller stories, and I think some of them are great. And I think Why don't you... Did you find the name of the parents, Mike?
I haven't.
Okay, I don't think it's that important, but...
His name is Jim.
His name is Jim.
Yeah, we'll just go
He
by Jim
writes
for
some
now.
books. Jim writes those books and
I'm pretty sure it's
sells
Terrence,
to
the
crooks. Okay, Terrence might be the grandfather.
No.
Peut-être. But either way, I think... What was your feeling when you first got into the house? Because the first part of the game is like almost teaching you how to play the game, where it's like, hey, this is one of those like first-person walking simulators. I hate to put the game in that box, but
I would.
Just for discussion's sake.
I would say it's literally that. You're walking around, lifting things up, trying to find your way through the game, and it kind of leads you through the game using like storytelling and narration to kind of keep you moving in the right direction. That's how I would explain it, just from this being one of the first games I've played like this and not really being a fan of them. It's you walk around, pick things up, find clues, and keep moving forward.
Okay, and how did you feel? How did you feel, Mo, when you first got into the house?
Okay, before you even get into the house, there's a note on the door saying, "Hey, Katie, I'm leaving." This is Sam writing to her, saying, "Hey, I'm leaving," or something. Don't bother looking for me. Because there's no point, and I'll see you soon. Very vague, very like, what is going on? Like, initially, I'm like, okay, this person, Sam, the younger daughter eventually, or younger sister eventually, killed the parents. She murdered everyone else. This is what went in my head, literally, because like you walk in, creepy house, and you're just kind of like going through this door, and they're storming outside, and there's a note saying, "Hey, don't bother looking for me. Mom and Dad are gone." It's like, yeah, she definitely like murdered the parents. She's running away. She's like running from the law.
She says, "Don't tell Mom and Dad."
Okay, it's open to how you perceive it. Because like when I saw that, I'm like, this
Don't
is a
tell
murder
Mom and
story.
Dad that you killed them.
Don't tell Mom and Dad in hell where I put you too.
Dude, like you guys are joking, but that's exactly what's going through my head, because even the game art for the game, like the launch icon, is the portrait of the family. The girl looks super creepy, and overall, when you're walking around, there's like a very eerie ambiance that's going around. So like your brain kind of goes, okay, what's the possible scenario? Possible scenario: this child murdered the parents, ate them, threw them in the closet, and is just going on with life. So initially, I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's
You live in a
finish
scary
this.
world, Mo.
What else could be happening? What else
could be happening?
She went to go get a pizza.
Yeah.
She went to get a pizza.
That's not a fun game. I want to see something crazy happen. But anyways,
She left with a boy.
That's the initial like feel. Like you get into the door, and then it's like, okay, creepy music. There's a bunch of dark hallways, a bunch of dark doors. You have to pick everything up and open a bunch of things. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to open one of these closets, and a ghost is going to come out or something. So my nerves are.
Ghost.
That's my initial impression. Like as soon as like you open the door and you kind of officially start the game, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die. Let's try and minimize the pain. And yeah, that's it. That's what happened.
So it's coming to me now. The name of the father is definitely Terrence, and the name of the wife is definitely Janice, or the mother. Janice is a park ranger.
Yes.
Who is working on a controlled blaze of a nearby forest. And
so you're saying that she's fire watching?
Oh, she's fire watching for sure. And then the father, Terrence, is an author of alternate reality JFK stories. He was ahead of his time.
Also VCR reviews.
Also VCR and hi-fi audio player reviews. If only he knew that Stephen King would later become very successful with an alternate JFK storyline.
So, Mike, Mo got in the house and thought it was all about a murder. What did you think when you got into the house?
So I had a similar video game reaction to walking in the house and it being dark, and my reaction of always watching my back every time I walked into a room.
Ooh, I hate that.
Going slowly around the corners, turning on lights as soon as I could, and then always looking back to make sure there wasn't something coming after me. Because they do a fantastic job of making you feel like this house is haunted and creepy. Because when you're standing there reading a note, you find, and you hear like the floor creaking behind you. Yeah, or the wind blowing really hard against the windows. it really gets you. It makes you feel like you need to exit out of reading that note and look behind you, until you get a little bit further in the game where you become settled and you realize that nothing is going to come and attack you, and that it's really just about sorting out this story and finding out what happened to this family.
There's so many times where I thought there was something around walking or moving, and I had to like retrack my steps. I'm like, did I make that noise, or did something make that noise? This is before I got really deep into the game. Like, kind of like when you're in the main level, you haven't gone like to the left hallway, right hallway, or upstairs. I'd take a step and I'd hear a creak. I'm like, this is a different creak. And then I realize I'm walking on a carpet. And it's like, okay. I see what you did.
Yeah, and that developer, for me, it was walking into the house and, I'm remembering kind of the way I first felt. I didn't, at first, I was a little thrown because it's not what I was expecting, just to be like in a 101 Dalmatians style mansion, just like, oh, I'm in this Pacific Northwestern house. Let's just explore it. I guess it just wasn't what I was expecting. I'd never really watched anyone play Gone Home. Obviously, I've heard tons of people talk about it, but I wasn't expecting that. But I can't tell you what I was expecting. To me, like, the environment of the house was great. The way the rain hits the house and like the sound that it creates is great ambiance. And what I didn't even realize until I went through the developer commentary was that all of that was not scripted. Like, it was just set on there's one scripted moment throughout the whole game, and the rest of it's just timers.
Yep.
So some people will be like, and then I walked into this room and turned on the light, and then I heard like lightning, and that's just, it's not scripted that way. It just so happened to go that way.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like the scripted moment has to be walking down that hallway on the first level and the TV turns on. And you hear
I think it was around the crucifix.
I don't even think I saw the crucifix.
What crucifix? Yeah, Jacob, enlighten us. See? Murder. This is all murder-based.
Crazy.
I don't even exactly remember. I just remember going through the developer commentary and him saying there's only one scripted moment and it has to do with the crucifix. But I think potentially what he meant was when there was like that circle in the closet. They're trying to bring back
the Ouija board,
the original owner of the house with the Ouija board. Yeah,
the uncle.
But yeah, that's kind of how I felt.
Oscar Mason, the guy who's like apparently the ghost in the house that Sam and her friend were trying to like find out more about, and they Ouija boarded up.
And who potentially abused Terrence as a kid.
Didn't pick that up.
Did you read the note that was hidden in the desk from the uncle to Terrence?
Yes and no. I read like the first couple sentences of every single note, because my thought process is escape alive, stay alive, do not pay attention to too many things. Like, let's just kind of power through it. And then like, I don't know how you guys tackle these types of games, but like for me, like, in school, we did this one lab where, in order to escape like a maze, one little strategy is you like pretend like you keep your left hand on the wall, and you just keep going around every wall, keeping your hand attached to that wall, and you eventually find like the exit. And I did that little like process in order to like make sure I pick everything up, to read every little thing, to make sure I get everything out of the game. And a lot of the times when I was reading things, because I did that, I read every single thing. I looked at every single wall. I looked at every single like underneath every bed, underneath anything that was clickable. I feel like I clicked, and if there was some kind of audit, I don't think I missed anything. But no, I did not read. I don't think I read it because I did all of that, because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, the letter essentially says that he knows they've been distant, and that he heard about the birth of his first daughter, and I think the marriage, and he was happy to hear about it, and then he said something along the lines of, I hope you'll come and visit. And they leave it at that, but it seems that there was a relationship that was clearly strained. Yeah.
No.
Sorry, whose relationship is this?
The father, Terrence, and the uncle, Oscar.
I thought Oscar was Terrence's dad. I might have missed something.
No, yeah, it's his uncle.
I totally missed that. Oscar is his uncle, and there's a will that says I leave all my stuff to... Oh... God, that makes sense now.
Yeah, I didn't understand that will. I was like, why is he... Yeah, I don't understand what was going
I
on.
realized very early on in playing that there was going to be multiple threads of the story that was happening at once. So I took out a notepad and I started making notes as I went, so that way I'd be able to keep the story clear in my head.
But then you'd get murdered in the game if you kept taking notes.
Yeah, you take too long writing, and guess what?
Yeah. So I guess...
Sorry, go ahead, Mo.
So I guess we get into the main room where you feel all these emotions, and I feel like I'm going to get murdered.
Can we take a second, though, to appreciate the fact that there's a duck and the key is underneath it to get into
the Christmas duck?
Yes.
The Christmas duck.
The Christmas duck.
That's to get into the room? The house?
Yeah. I thought that was perfect. I thought it was perfect because that is like the standard spot that everyone puts the key, the extra key.
Under the duck?
under like an ornament outside by the front door.
Completely over my head.
It's a decorative rock.
All I saw was a clickable. I picked it up, threw it, and then I picked up the key and got in the house. This did not affect me in any way. I did not attach it to any real life symbolism. No, it was just there's an object.
Did you know there's a place for the Christmas duck in the house?
No way.
There's a nest in the attic. So when you get up to the attic,
there is.
If you turn around, that's the nest for the Christmas duck.
I saw that stupid nest and I didn't know what it was there for.
If you put it down, does it unlock like a secret like key for like for Skyrim or something? Like you get like a duck hat. Is there any Easter egg?
It gives you a key to Firewatch.
Far Cry Primal.
Firewatch.
So the Christmas duck on PC, there's no achievements, but on PS4 there are achievements. So I'm just gonna see right now if there's an achievement for that, because that would be pretty awesome if there was.
So the moment that I hit like my Goosebumps moment was, so one, I walked into the house and I was feeling like super unsure. I turned on every light that I could as quick as I could.
100%.
Which is totally my reaction anytime I walk into a dark house.
Exactly. As soon as you get into a room, look to the right, click that little light thing.
Exactly.
The switch, because I'm not playing that game.
Yeah, and the first hall I went down was the one that's as soon as you walk in to your left. So first I checked out the bathroom on the left, and then I went down that hall. And as soon as you step into that hall, you see the glow of the TV in the room at the end of the hall, and you hear someone talking. And that's when I started getting goosebumps. I'm like, wait, this is going to be a horror
Mike,
game.
I have to stop you. That specific moment where where you're walking down the hallway and you see the TV going off in that one room down the hallway, 100% the first thing that came to mind, you know Toy Story when Buzz Lightyear's trying to escape that one kid's house, and there's a dad sitting there sleeping and there's like the TV going and it's just as creepy. You don't want the guy to wake up. You don't want anything. Exact same moment.
See, I had a recall to The Grudge where I thought someone might be walking out of that TV. So I walked down to the end of the hall because I'm like, if I'm gonna die quick, and I'll start this over again. I'm not a fan of those scary movies either, as you've noticed the trend. I just don't feel like I have to willingly support Big Pharma and buy these heart medications I'd eventually need after these games. So why not just live my life in a pleasant way and not do this to myself? It was definitely a little bit of a heart palpitation moment, but I mustered the courage to go into the room, look at the TV, hear what the response was, and then turn it off so I was no longer creeped out. Yeah,
do you know the number one funder / supporter of The Grudge was Pfizer, the medication company? That's a total,
you're making that up.
Total lie, but like it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense.
We call that alternative facts where I live.
Exactly. They're still facts. You use the word fact.
No.
Therefore, let's not get into that.
Mike's just like, escape button, escape button, escape button.
But your goosebump moment was that hallway with the TV going.
TV. That was definitely my goosebump moment.
Jacob, when did you get the goosebumps, I guess, the first time you played it?
So I guess that I was the only one out of the three of us that didn't that wasn't scared. Like obviously
What?
I wasn't like, oh, this is a jolly stroll through the park. Like that wasn't what I was thinking. But at no point was I was uneasy, but I was never scared. and maybe because I played it during the day both times, I think, with the lights on. But to me, the goosebumps didn't come from being scared. They came from the main thread of the story and how I wasn't really expecting the game to go where it went until I was in it. So for those who, just to kind of give a quick overview of what that is. So Sam, the little sister, one of her main, or rather her main plot line is around a friend named Lonnie that she meets at school, and how she realizes Yolanda DeSantos
goes by Lonnie.
Or DeSoto. Sorry, my bad.
They start by playing Street Fighter 2 at the local arcade, and then kind of Sam goes into the fact that like she's known that she was gay for most of her life, and eventually goes on to say that like Lonnie is someone that she has feelings for that are more than a friend.
Yeah, and
so to me that was progress. The Goosebumps.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
To me, yeah, that was the Goosebump moment where I'm just like, I don't think I've ever had a story about homosexuality, or rather just sexuality, kind of creep up on me like that one did.
Oh, like out of nowhere.
Really?
I thought it was well done. Like the writing, the voice acting was incredible. Like it did come out of nowhere, but at the same time it was like, oh, okay, cool. Like keep let's see the progression in each character keep moving forward.
Yeah, the first time I played it, I didn't really know where it was going, because I'm just like, oh, she got this new friend, and maybe this new friend, maybe it's like Stand By Me and they find a dead body, or maybe it's something else. But I never expected it to go to a point where they develop feelings for each other.
Okay.
I don't know why. That's where my mind went almost straight away.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it was leading that way earlier on too. Like it was building up to it, and then eventually, yeah.
And see, there's an order in which you can get the like audio diaries, I guess, because the notes are the ones that trigger the audio from Sam. Mm-hmm. So on my first playthrough, I think I played it differently than on my second playthrough, where I went into a washroom, and in the washroom there's a bottle of red hair dye.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
That bottle of red hair. Yeah, I thought it was blood at first.
So on my first playthrough, I didn't get red hair dye. I totally missed it. Like I didn't even get it.
Really?
And on my second playthrough, I picked up red hair dye almost as one of the first audio diaries that I picked up. And if I would have picked up red hair dye first, I would have been like, oh snap, okay, she's developing feelings for her. But I think it's the way that I picked up audio diaries on my first playthrough led me to, oh, it's about this. Oh.
Right. The order that the story's unfolded matters.
Yeah, because I think that there are probably certain triggers. Like if you looked at the different audio logs, there's probably 2 or 3 that you have to collect to finish the game. Yes. But apart from that, it's kind of free for all.
Although I feel like they do. Maybe this is through the bias of my the one playthrough experience. I feel like they lead you in a pretty predetermined way. Like they nudge you in different ways to get to certain audio logs first, right? So when you go upstairs, you know almost for certain that you're going to go into Sam's room before you go into the parents' room, before you go down to the end of the hall where the attic is, or before you go to the washroom. Just the architectural layout of it kind of funnels you to experiencing some before others. In the same way, they do the same thing downstairs, where you're going to, I think, trigger the audio log in front of the family portrait right by the phone before you trigger anything down by the TV, where there's the cassette for the music.
They lead you, but they never force you, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
I feel like I got a very linear storyline. Everything kind of flowed well together. And remember, I came from this completely blank, and I just follow the wall, pick up everything as you go, went to the left naturally, follow the storyline, went to every room that came to me. I went to it first, cleared it out, went to the next room, cleared it out.
Same here.
And that kind of maybe helped me understand the storyline and gave me a better flow of things. Now with me, it's a goosebump moment. I don't know if we kind of got there or not, but once she met Lonnie and they write a note, or one of the audio clips says there's a secret door in the library, and like Oscar was there, or they heard like the ghost or something like that, that's the pause the game moment, Google it. Is this a scary game? And that's when I check. Because as soon as I started talking about like ghosts and stuff, I'm like, okay, there's gonna be some scares. I'm gonna get like a machine gun soon, or like a gravity gun of some kind. And here we go. The game's starting now.
They're not expecting you to throw Christmas duck at the thing that's trying to kill you.
No, I was like, I'm gonna open this thing and like something's gonna happen. We're gonna pick up the game, but it's just continuous, kind of like. Always holding your breath. Oh, here's more creepy. Here, now you're gonna definitely die. And I want to talk about this now, because I think at this point-ish is when you kind of start going upstairs and you see the attic. The attic is down this long hallway. It's one of those drawstring pull down, and then you can access it. So it's lit up with like Christmas lighting, and it's all red, and it has like a note saying like Sam's like do not enter if the light is on. And the light's on the whole time while you're playing, and that's another like traditional like video game kind of way of saying you're gonna die. There's death here. Do not even come near it.
Or she's just developing pictures. I thought that slight thought too when I was playing it. I was like, oh, maybe she is, but I'm like, no. There's ghosts. There's blood in that toilet with the red hair dye.
It gave me flashbacks to the opening of Max Payne 1. Where you're in the house and there's the red blood trail. When I saw those red lights, that's what it reminded me of. It was like, okay, here's not only a big glowing, like, this is where you ultimately need to go, but it's red. Yeah. And it, I mean, obviously, when you saw the the tub with all the hair dye, your brain first goes to blood. I think they use the creepy atmosphere to good effect, because it makes you like you were saying earlier, Mo, it makes you slow down and like clear out every room and make sure you're not missing something. It makes you take your time because you don't want to run around a corner and potentially get killed, because that's our general reaction having played video games as much as we do. And I think using that creepy atmosphere, you take a tub that's a little bit red and your brain goes to blood before it goes to hair dye. And you see those Christmas lights in the hallway, and your brain goes to someone's going to be murdered here, or this is a trap, more than it goes to this is a teenager's dark room. Yeah, and like I think... Sorry, I just want to say, I don't think you get there without that creepy atmosphere. I don't think your brain jumps to those conclusions first, without it being super ominous and creepy throughout the game.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. It's a continuous climb of like your heart speeding up like an extra 10 beats per second every like 10 minutes. Just okay, I'm gonna die now. Nope. Okay, I'm gonna die now. Okay, next room. This is definitely where I die. No. Okay, open the sliding door. Okay, I'm gonna die here, down a creepy hallway, and then you go to the basement. Are you kidding me? That's traditional where you die.
I didn't go into the basement at all. I only realized that now. I got the key, but I never went. I got the key, but I never went.
How can you beat the game without going into the basement?
Apparently.
Yeah, because I don't think I went into the basement once. I'm pretty sure I went through all the secret passages and grabbed all the different things that once they're marked on your map, and then I went up to the attic, and then you get the climax of the game as far as I'm concerned, when they take control.
What do you think the climax is? What's the climax of the game?
The climax is when the music comes in and you hear the audio log of her outlining the call that she has between Lonnie and herself, and you see the photos of Lonnie hanging on the wall, being that was in being the processed.
That was
you
in
find
the attic.
Code in the locker to get to the attic, I think.
Yeah.
And then as you progress through, you get to the end of the attic, and then they just take control away from you. And then the game ends. I
guess, Jacob, what would you think the climax is for you? Same thing?
So, yeah, if the climax... Well, the climax is the end, right? Like, that is the beginning of the end. If we're talking the beginning of the end, then the attic is definitely the climax, where you go and you see the bed that's been set up. You see the pictures of the necklace that she purchased with the kind of S and L on it. where you see the picture of Lonnie, where you see the picture of her military uniform. To me, that's the climax. And then obviously the end of the game is when you open Sam, I'm so sorry, I had to go. Like, that's the end of the game. But I think that there are some really good moments throughout that are peppered in. Like, to me, the most effective voiceover piece was when Sam was at the kitchen table and there's a note there, and it talks about how she tried to come out to her parents and her parents just pretended like she didn't.
No
like
way,
they were
I
in
totally
complete
missed that
denial.
one.
Did you guys miss that one?
I totally missed that one.
I think I might have missed a bit of it, or I might have just read the first sentence or two, and I'm like, okay, next objective.
I don't even think I saw a kitchen table.
Yeah, so when you go into the kitchen, you pick up a note, and she basically goes like, I tried to tell my parents about Lonnie, and they like said it was just a phase. They said that yeah, like it was painful to listen to.
Yeah, so this is after all that crazy stuff. Did you get the note in the garage, I think, where it says, hey, Katie, like, hey, I think she's writing it to Sam. She's like, hey, we're going away for the weekend, June, like, the 5th to, like, the 8th. We'll be back, like, soon. We left pizza money on the table. Did you guys get that moment?
Oh, that explains the pizza box. No, I didn't hear that one either.
Okay,
yeah, that one I did.
This was a letter. It was literally from and this is where my complete opinion of the game completely got changed. I was irritated. So the whole fact that I thought mom and dad were murdered and stuffed in a closet somewhere or in the basement, and the fact that they were just like on a camping trip, or one of them was on a camping trip for a couple of days, and it matched the timeline of when Katie was coming home, so they're just not home. Oh, I was so upset because I thought there was no climax. I completely was offended because I thought I was going to die and no one killed me. That was irritating, and that's my main, I guess.
So for you, a game isn't a game until you kill someone or get killed.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened. It was a great story.
Nothing happened.
What do you mean nothing happened?
Okay, this is my point of view and how I enjoy games.
Well, when you watch a movie, does anything happen?
So this
only in Transformers.
No, listen to this. You kind of like hit it right on the head. Well, yeah, when I'm watching a movie, I'm playing a game. I want things to happen. I want to be able to like punch something in the face. I want to be able to like be able to interact, not just picking up a duck and finding a key. That was the most, I guess, interaction. Besides the amazing voice acting, the storyline was fine, but I didn't want to watch a movie. I wanted to play a game, and that's where I felt like I was offended. And I can vent more, but I think I'm going to contain myself and kind of control
Here we
this.
get into a discussion about what is a game, right? Which clearly this doesn't fit the definition of what a game is, because there's no clear objective. There's no score that you get. There's no comparison between other people. But it's an interactive story, and it's told through the control scheme of a video game. It's told in the design language of a video game. It's told with the trappings of a video game, in the way that good video game stories are told. So whether it's a video game or not, I think doesn't actually matter. I think what matters is whether if it quacks like a duck and it sounds like a duck,
a Christmas duck,
it looks like a Christmas duck, then it's a Christmas duck.
Yeah, I understand it's a game. I bought it on Steam, so I guess it makes it a game. But maybe it's just it comes down to like taste of a game. I felt like it was more of a movie that you walk through, which is fine. It was incredible. Like I thought the voice acting was one of the best I've ever seen in a quotation game.
I did love the voice acting. I have to agree with you there.
If it wasn't for that, I would have been just here telling you guys nothing happened, and it was like a terrible story. But I can't say it was a terrible story because it was a great story. I felt attached to the characters. I felt like the progression was great. But as soon as I read that damn note, and it's like, oh, we're just out of town.
So Mo, your issue is strictly that you feel as though it's not a game.
I didn't do
quote
anything.
Unquote game.
I didn't do anything. I lifted up a duck, found a key. I walked into rooms, turned off lights, on and off.
Oh my god!
And then I also, I think the other most interactive thing that happened was I read that note that said, "Hey, we're just away for the weekend, so have a good day." And then cutscenes.
You don't get any joy out of piecing together what's happening? I loved piecing together what was happening in the story. I loved piecing together the note from the Janice's friend talking about the rough patch in their marriage and how that will change and how teenagers are teenagers and how, oh, I can't believe Ranger Rick sounds so studly. And then you go into her closet and you find a book of erotic fiction.
Wildfire.
Exactly, Wildfire. And you realize that, and then you also find her performance evaluation of him and her request to make sure that he stays there permanently, that he gets transferred to her office. Putting together that story, I thought was amazing. Reading the fiction that Sam was writing from when she was a little kid to when she was older, the differences in how she progressed, the school assignment of having to write a short story about biology, either menstrual cycle or a sperm fertilizing an egg, and her writing a story about this World War II Polish girl and her boyfriend, and how he dies, and how she just at the end of each paragraph incorporates the sentence that she needs to for it to pass. And then the teacher's comments in red pen are just "see me" with an exclamation mark. I thought that was amazing.
You know what? I think I can explain how my emotions were affected and why I'm kind of upset with it. Think of it like this: I'm a 10-year-old little kid. Your parents wake you up in the morning and they go, "Hey, we're going to go meet Mickey Mouse." And you're like, "Yes, Mickey Mouse, best thing I ever expected in my life. Oh my God, yeah, let's go." You get all ready to go. They put you in the car. And then you go to the dentist office, and the dentist is dressed like Mickey Mouse. And they're like, "Hey, it's Mickey Mouse. We didn't lie to you. You still got the experience." And you freak out. You're like, "I was expecting Disney World." At no point did your parents say you're going to Disney World, but you're expecting Disney.
So yours was an issue of expectation.
100%. I think that's what it comes down to. I was expecting more, and I got a great side thing, but I was expecting something else.
So you're saying that this is an interactive book or an interactive radio drama and nothing more than that?
A great radioactive book. Incredible radioactive book, but still a radioactive book. What did I say? I'm so flustered, man. Book. I'm so flustered, I just can't even deal with this. But
even that, and the whole storyline about the father, right? The father is basically a failed novelist who tried his alt JFK stories not once but twice. His publisher dropped him. He has to make reviews about hi-fi systems and about VCRs just to pay the bills. And there's a white knight publisher that comes in and says, "Hey, we have a devout fan base that will eat up anything we give them. We want to publish your books."
Oh, I didn't see that one.
And see, that's another wrinkle in their marriage, is that he feels inadequate as a man because he can't seem to write a book that anybody cares about. And you'll find in the kitchen, again, there's a crumpled up manuscript, and on it, the wife has written "Keep trying, honey" on it.
Oh.
Wow.
So yeah, there's that, and then in addition to finding her smut, you also find one of Dad's nudie magazines underneath a pile of his non-sold copies of his book, and then you can also find Sam's smutty magazines in her room, and it's a smutty magazine about it's Gillian Anderson on the cover.
Yes, I love that so much. Because who doesn't love Gillian Anderson?
Right?
Especially today. She only got better with age.
And I think there's that storyline, and then even there's a letter from their grandfather. So from Katie's grandfather, Terrence Sr., I think is his name, and he's a PhD. And essentially in the father's office, there's a letter that says no, you find it in the basement, and it's on the back of one of the copies of his book, and it's taped to the back, and it says something like, "Son, I'm glad that you got published, but I think that your book is bad. You should keep trying." Yeah,
I wish I would have went.
I think the last line is "keep trying" or something. It's a very backhanded compliment, last line of a letter, and I thought it was perfect, right next to the Home Alone furnace.
I really need to go and play that again and go to the basement.
Yeah, there's a lot in the basement. There's a pretty good audio diary from Sam about Lonnie's last concert in the city as well. I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of Pacific Northwest stories.
Me too.
Can I throw just a random curveball about this game? Just one last little thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, do you know the family portrait?
Yes.
The main one with like the dad on the right side.
In the main hallway?
Yeah, the main hallway, the main, like, I guess, art for the game. So when I first played the game, this is something small, but I completely thought that, okay, so Sam is the one on the far left, the little girl, and then I thought Caitlin, you as the player, were the one at the very top, like the middle, but that's the mom. And then the one in the, like, the middle, the bottom next to the dad is actually Caitlin, you're like in the middle of the photo.
Yeah, in the middle.
Yeah,
the middle at the top.
No. The middle of the top is the mom. That's Janice. That's not Caitlin, you. Do you understand it? Do you understand it? If you pull up the
I think
photo,
we're thinking of different photos.
Oh, no. 100%. We're thinking I'm looking at the family portrait in-game the entire time.
Let me look it up.
It's wrong. You're thinking exactly how I thought of it when we played the game. It's just...
Because there's no way that the one at the top in the middle...
That's Janice, the mom. Caitlin, the two girls are the bottom left. But because, like, the...
Damn.
See?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Janice was looking pretty young.
Yeah, and then Caitlin had, like, the cardigan on, and I think made her look like she was 104.
Yeah, that's totally it. It's that jacket. It's a mom jacket. It's 100% a mom jacket. And she's next to the dad.
Exactly, and she's, like, huddled up next to the dad. So it's like, okay.
Wait, which one is the mom? On top or in the middle?
Top is the mom.
How positive are you, Mo?
Okay, look up Gone Home portraits.
Uh-huh.
Or Gone Home characters as well. And you'll see, like, I think it's a Giant Bomb article or a Giant Bomb, like, website. And you'll see, like, the characters split up, like, by photo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll see if I can pull it. Yeah, the Giant Bomb one, yeah. And then you'll see, what's it called? Janice is the one at the very top. Caitlin, and when it's zoomed in on her face, you can tell she's younger looking-ish. And then Sam is the one on the left. Do you see the Giant Bomb website? Or should I send it to you guys?
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Random.
I love I love the ambient storytelling in this game. Just finding little things like the motorcycle that had the note of like, oh yeah, this is the one that me and my dad are building. And it's like, okay, it's very clear now how she like escaped. Or at least
I missed that.
I missed that completely.
I just assumed that's what it was. I didn't get to the garage. So there might have been a motorcycle in the garage.
I think there was.
Okay, so then, see, I love the fact that I could piece together a story that made sense out of what I found. Mm-hmm.
There's also an invoice for a haircut that I think it's under the couch for the mom, and obviously that haircut is so she looks way sexier for Rick, right?
Ranger Rick.
And do they go to a concert as well? Because in one of the greats, there's a concert ticket.
Ooh, I didn't notice that.
I saw that. I just didn't connect it together.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, I got to go back to your comment about loving stories in the Pacific Northwest. I think there were so many great things throughout that gave it that sense of it being in that that time and place of the Pacific Northwest or the West Coast in the North, and being in the mid '90s. I thought it was perfect. So you see all of the X-Files tapes throughout the television rooms, which is just a reference I loved because, one, I'm a big X-Files fan, and two, just knowing that X-Files, even though it doesn't take place in Vancouver or the Pacific Northwest for the most part, it looks very much like that because it was filmed in Vancouver. So you still get that same, Pacific Northwest vibe. And then all of the music tapes, the cassettes throughout. I love the way that helped just build the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I loved about it was it was essentially an audio log of, in many cases, you put them in and an audio log plays. But the thing that I think took it beyond a typical audio log was that you didn't just grab it and then it went. You had to grab it and find a cassette player to play it in. And that it made it seem like it was less just a collectible and more of you engaging with the game in a world. So yeah, absolutely love that.
Yeah, and I think to me another thing that kind of helped nail not necessarily the time and place, but like the time in the life of the main character is like some of the high school notes that were passed. So if you read some of the notes, I we're all around the same age, so we didn't have cell phones at the start of high school, or it was still like a very like
expensive,
a new thing, an expensive thing. So that would have been like, we would be in high school like in the early 2000s, right? So they'd be in high school maybe 6 or 7 years before that, where no one had a cell phone. So the only way that you could, talk to your crush or, figure out plans without the teacher knowing would be sending notes. And I don't know about you guys, but I probably still have like 1 or 2 notes from high school somewhere under my bed. And they were like, they nailed the high school note passing game like to a T.
Yeah. I thought those notes were fantastic. I also think the notes were why I could tell that there was more going on between Lonnie and Sam than just friendship. It seemed very flirty back and forth.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and to me another story piece. I'm just kind of saying everything that I liked about the game as we kind of get here to the end. I really liked how they really tackled sexuality in the army really well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that piece of it.
I didn't catch that much.
It was like the don't kiss, don't tell. It's one of the audio clips that you got to like pick up and hear about. Yeah.
Lonnie is well, it's always Sam, but Sam is very much like, I don't understand why you are someone who likes women, and you, on the other side, you are just like, you write zines, you like alternative music, you wear different clothes, and then, after school, you're training to be a part of the army, where it's very like tight, like top button, tight collared, and also it's don't ask, don't tell. So to me, that was very much like a parent putting that on the child, just like religion is something that in the game is just kind of touched on a little bit. And in one of the audio logs, Steve Gaynor talks about how his experience with religion, and I may be paraphrasing here, but his experience with religion is something that he put into the game, as in like, we all have, experience with religion, but a lot of the time it's just put on us by our parents, and we don't really make a choice for ourselves until we're older. Mm-hmm. So I think you find there's a couple Bibles throughout the game. So like just the way that they put those breadcrumbs out for you to find, and how some of the storylines are more like stuck more with me, stuck more with you, Mike, maybe didn't stick with Mo. I don't know. There's no explosions. But I think it's...
Where is the gravity gun? Where is it?
There's no Uncle Ghost that's coming to kill him.
Exactly.
Yes, it's under the Christmas duck.
Oh, damn duck.
Mo probably spent a good amount of time sitting at that pentagram table trying to bring the Ouija board there and summon the uncle.
Yeah, it was like from Doom 3, just the same situation. I want to summon that little demon guy.
Yeah, so I just thought that was great.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was kind of funny finding the journal that I think Katie says, oh man, this was from like grade 4 or something, and then underneath it you find a Bible, which to me signals that like, oh yeah, clearly this has not been touched in a long time, and this is not like an active part of their lives.
Yeah, and I think they evoke a lot of what, like, I think of shows that were, like, you probably think of, like, the shows that you named, so, like, Twin Peaks and X-Files, but, like, I'm very, like, into, like, high school drama type shows. So, like, I was thinking of My So-Called Life. I was thinking of, like, Life Unexpected, which is one that came out, like, maybe 6 or 7 years ago with Britt Robertson, and those are the shows that I think of when I think of, like, this game, the setting, and what they were trying to accomplish narratively.
One other show I'd bring up, Daria. I don't know if you've watched much of Daria, but
no,
it gave me a bit of that vibe too. Just the disaffected teens and teen angst in the 90s.
Hashtag teen angst.
Hashtag teen angst.
It's a cartoon.
And it was pretty solid. Yeah, I thought the game did a fantastic job of telling the stories and not making them, not hitting you over the head with them, allowing you to discover the stories that were happening. And I feel like they do a great job of immersing you in the world, so you don't feel like an outsider. You feel like you're part of the family, learning more about your family when about all the things that happened when you were away. Yeah, so for me, I love the game. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I think we want to try something new here. So I think in the end, if you had to like sum this game up in 10 words or less, how would you sum the game up?
I gotta take a second to think. Mike, you go first before me, I guess, or Jacob. Whoever gets the 10 word or less, fire it off.
So my short impression is that it is a fantastic game that immerses you and tells a variety of stories extremely well. And that's probably a little bit more than 10 words, but I think you get a nice
well, then here,
synopsis.
I'll average out our 10 words apiece by just saying it's a masterclass in...
Storytelling?
Masterclass... Well, no, but like in object-based storytelling, if that's a thing. In ambient storytelling, yeah, a masterclass in ambient storytelling. That's what I would say.
My initial out of nowhere, I didn't even think about it too much. It's a great story that thinks it's a game, and I won't play again. Sorry, but I had to kind of give it something like that. Like it was great, but I don't like these games. This was good because of the storytelling. If it wasn't there, it'd be thrown into the pile of games that I wouldn't play again because...
Well, without the storytelling, there's nothing. Without storytelling, there's nothing to this game.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why for me, I don't know. It's a great story, but I don't know. I still don't think it's a game because I'm expecting something else when I think of a game, and I think that's where like the difference comes. But yeah, I feel like I went to the dentist expecting Disney World, and I just got the dentist.
Right.
So should this game be left behind?
Never.
Mo?
Leave it behind. I can't. Sorry, guys. Leave it behind.
And I'm with Mike. Like, you need to play this game. I would play this game over Shadow of the Colossus any day.
How do I disconnect this call right now? Just kidding. But
and on our next episode, it's just going to be me and Jake.
Yep, exactly. And me petitioning outside of the recording.
Yeah, so I wonder what game that Mike is not going to like next time.
Yeah.
It's funny because we have 2 approvals of Shadow of the Colossus and 1 no approval, and now for this game we have 2 approvals. So I guess for the next one, Jacob, we both have to like it no matter what, and Mike has to not like it. But damn it, he's going to be...
So that's going to be very difficult because I'm choosing the next game.
Yeah, this is going to... Okay.
So Mike, why don't you tell us what the next game that's part of the Left Behind Game Club?
So the next game that we're going to play is Jonathan Blow's Braid, the very first big indie game.
Sweet.
So yeah, I think it was seminal for proving that digital distribution and smaller games could work, and it set the standard for a lot of indie games to go forward. So yeah, I'm really excited. I've never played all the way through it, and I'd like to figure it out and force myself to get through it this time.
Yeah, Steam says I've played 0.8 hours of it. I'm excited to go back into it, though. I thought it was really cool. For some reason, probably things came up. I never really got to play it. So
yeah, I've played it for 46 minutes. So I'm, and I did that back in 2009. So I think I'm pretty excited to actually play through it.
Yeah. Same.
So
awesome.
I think we'll probably be able to get that one done in one episode. But I'll sit down and I'll map it out, and we'll tweet out whether we're doing it in 1 or 2.
Sweet.
That sounds awesome, great. Mo, Mike, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to jumping on today to talk about Gone Home, despite what some people think about the game.
Hint, hint. Terrible game. Disney World.
It's not. It's... I'm just getting upset here, just hearing him talk about
Let's
this.
just leave
me
the
too,
discussion
honestly.
behind. Let's leave
So
the
you can
discussion
find
behind.
Jacob McCourt at jacobmccourtbabykiller.com.
Don't. You can find me, Jacob McCourt, at Jacob McCourt or at jacobmccourt.com. Mike, where can the people find you?
You can find me at RuffoloM, RUFFOLOM on Twitter and most other places online. And Mo, where can you find you
Same.
other than in a corner not liking good video games?
I'll be playing real video games at Murtadi. That's MMURTADI, all the social media handles, and the Gmail.
All right. It's been a
And
treat.
it has been. You could find this and many more episodes at leftbehindgame.club, or you can find us on Twitter at leftbehindclub. And that's all for today.
Bye.
Thanks so much, guys.
See you guys.